Have you ever looked around and felt like you're seeing the same patterns over and over again? You know, in the way a fern uncurls or the swirl of a seashell. And then you look up at the night sky and see it again in the arms of a galaxy. It's almost like nature is writing in a secret alphabet, right? A hidden code that connects literally everything. Well, in this explainer, we're going to crack that code. Just look at these two spirals. I mean, really look. On one side, you've got the delicate, intricate pattern of a plant, and on the other, the gigantic, sweeping arms of a galaxy that is billions of times larger and millions of light years away. The difference in scale is it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. And yet the pattern is just undeniably the same.
So what's going on here? Is this really just some beautiful cosmic coincidence? Or is there something deeper at play? A fundamental rule, a kind of mathematical blueprint that's telling everything how to grow and form, from a tiny leaf to the grand design of the cosmos.
To get to the bottom of this, let's start by playing detective, right here on Earth. Because as it turns out, nature has a few favorite patterns that it uses again and again and again. Okay, take this ordinary pine cone. If you actually trace the spirals its scales make, you'll see they don't just grow randomly. In fact, if you count them, you'll almost always find a specific number of them winding one way and a different number winding the other, like maybe 8 spirals going one way and 13 going the other. Now remember those two numbers, 8 and 13? They're going to be important.
And here's where it gets really weird. These aren't just random numbers. They belong to this special family that we see repeated in flower petals everywhere. Irises often have 3, hibiscus 5, delphiniums 8, and big sunflowers can have 34, 55, even 89 spirals of seeds. It's like every plant has a built-in calculator. So what is the formula they're all using?
Well, the answer lies in a famous mathematical sequence. And understanding it is the key to cracking this whole natural code wide open. This whole thing was brought to light way back in the 13th century by a mathematician named Leonardo of Pisa, who we know today as Fibonacci. He cooked up this little thought experiment about how fast rabbits could multiply, and in doing so, he stumbled onto a sequence of numbers that, it turns out, is basically written into the fabric of the universe. And the rule itself is just incredibly simple. Seriously. You start with 1 and 1. You add them together, you get 2. Then you add your last number to the one before it. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Then 2 plus 3 is 5. Then 3 plus 5 is 8. Wait a second. Sound familiar? 8, 13, 21, 34. These are the exact numbers we just saw in pine cones and flower petals. Okay, so we have the numbers, but how do you get from a list of numbers to a physical shape? Well, it's actually pretty cool. If you create squares where the side of each square matches these numbers, they fit together perfectly. You can see it here. A 1 by 1 square, then another 1 by 1, then a 2 by 2, a 3 by 3, a 5 by 5, all nested together like a puzzle.
And now for the magic trick. If you just draw a smooth curve connecting the corners of each square, boom, you get a perfect spiral. And this isn't just any old spiral, it's the one we see everywhere in nature. A simple rule of addition literally generates one of the most fundamental shapes in the entire universe.
So, we've cracked the what. We know what the code is. But now for the much bigger question. Why? Why does nature use this sequence so consistently? The answer isn't about making things look pretty. It's about something much more primal, the ruthless pursuit of efficiency. Buried inside this sequence is another secret, a single, almost mystical number. If you take any two numbers next to each other in the sequence and divide the bigger one by the smaller one, the answer gets closer and closer to this, 1.618, also known as phi, or the golden ratio. And that ratio leads us to something called the golden angle, 137.5 degrees. And this is nature's secret weapon for building things. When a plant needs to add a new leaf or a new seed, it places it at this exact angle from the last one. But why that number? I mean, it seems so random, right? Well, it's because it is, quite simply, the most efficient way to pack things together and guarantee survival. Just look at this comparison. If a plant grew its leaves at a simple 90-degree angle, the fifth leaf would grow directly over the first one, blocking its sunlight. Total disaster. But with the golden angle, a new leaf never perfectly covers an old one. It ensures every single leaf gets the best possible exposure to sunlight and rain, and it packs seeds so there is absolutely no wasted space. It's nature's perfect solution. So, this code is a total game changer for plants. But what about everything else?
Let's zoom out. I mean, way out. And see if this rule still holds up on a cosmic scale.
You are not going to believe this, but the same mathematical logic that lets the sunflower pack its seeds in the most efficient way also describes some of the most powerful and mysterious things in the entire universe. Yeah, we're talking about massive ocean whirlpools, and even how light behaves around a black hole.
And I'm not just saying they look similar. An applied mathematician named George Haller actually studied this and discovered that the equations describing both of these things are, and I'm quoting him here, literally the same type of equation.
So here's how it connects. Think about a whirlpool. There's a boundary, right? A line where the water just circles and can't escape. Now think about a black hole. It has something similar called a photon sphere, where light itself gets trapped in orbit. And the mathematical principles that define the edge of these spirals, these points of no return, are functionally identical. A rule for efficient packing on Earth echoes in the physics of deep space.
Okay, that is mind-bending. The same rule on Earth and in deep space. But what if we zoom all the way back in, not just to Earth, but deep inside our own brains? It turns out our bodies run on hidden codes too, synchronized not to a spiral, but to a rhythm.
Deep in the center of your brain is this tiny pinecone-shaped thing called the pineal gland. And for centuries, philosophers and mystics have called it the third eye, seeing it as a seat of spiritual awareness, a gateway to a higher consciousness.
But today, science sees its own kind of magic here. As you can see, light information travels from your eyes directly to this gland. The pineal gland is the master conductor of your body's internal orchestra. It is the regulator of its most fundamental rhythm.
And this is what governs our circadian rhythm, which literally means around a day. It's your body's own internal 24-hour clock. By releasing the hormone melatonin when it gets dark outside, the pineal gland tells your entire body that it's time to rest. It's a biological code that syncs our internal world with the daily cycle of our planet.
So, let's just pull all of this together for a second. We started with a super simple rule, like a plant just trying to put a new seed where there's the most empty space. That simple rule leads to a perfect geometric angle, which creates the spirals we see everywhere, all for one reason: maximum efficiency and survival. And this rule is so fundamental it even echoes in the physics of black holes. At the same time, a totally different code, a biological rhythm, syncs our own bodies to the turning of the Earth. Nature, it seems, is just built on a foundation of elegant, efficient logic.
It's incredible, right? From the way a flower blooms, to the way light orbits a black hole, and even the clock that ticks inside of us, the universe really seems to run on an elegant and efficient code. It just makes you wonder, what other secrets are written into the fabric of reality, just waiting for us to find them?